Are you guys here in the room?
Yes,
Okay.
we're
All right.
more people in, and then we're going to get rolling.
Okay. I'm going to have to jump in and out because we had to move my dad in with us. He's a 24/7 care. So if he needs help, I have to leave. It's temporary
no
because
problem.
I can't do this all the time.
Don't even worry about it.
Okay. And I'm not
There was
going
some
on camera because I
confusion
haven't.
because
Huh?
there's some confusion because we had the Zoom link go out as well
Yeah.
as the meetup link.
Yeah. I went to
So
the Zoom too. So Heidi was on there.
yeah.
And sent us over. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So she's in there sending the link over
Yeah.
for the meetup.
Yeah. And I
So
haven't been able to shower or brush my hair in 2 days, so I'm not going on camera.
Oh, come on. You can share with us. You don't have to
No.
be all elegant. We're an informal group.
I know, but I literally haven't combed my hair.
No, you're funny. Too
Been a
funny.
little busy.
There goes Heidi now. She must be in.
Yeah. I don't think I can turn my camera
right
on until I hang up on the Zoom, but that's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get rolling. Hey, so we only got a few people in today, but that's okay. We're going to go through a bunch of things. I know at the market center we had a meeting. One of the team leaders from Arizona was coming in. Actually, not a team leader. I'm sorry. He's an OP of 4 market centers now. He was originally a team leader, and he's coming in to do. He was doing an event from 11 to 12 on finishing off your year. You know, getting things into perspective and planning for next year. So I think a couple people got hung up in there. I'm sure it rolled over. It always runs late, those events. So Cindy, have you made it to any of the stuff at the market center yet?
I went to Terry's business planning thing last Friday. And then I went in Wednesday to the end of their team meeting and then talked to Darren. No, you're frozen, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was at Summerlin this week. I went Thursday. Oh, am I? I'm not.
You're like freezing on and off.
Well, am I? Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Heidi, my screen's freezing.
It is. Maybe leave the room and come back in and see. I wonder if it's like a data thing. I had to do that to be able to get my camera back on. Yeah. It's actually much better than Zoom once we figure it out.
Technology never fails to throw me off, that's for sure. So
not just you.
We have very high expectations of it.
See that?
Hopefully not of us. Just kidding.
Well, since I have a couple of you in here already, why don't we just has everybody been downloaded the app? So Heidi also has an app built so that you can go in and get into the chats and news articles and get like the meetup information.
It's the Kajabi community. Here, I'll put
I just go on my computer. I don't
Okay.
I don't like using my phone.
Yeah, that's fine. I prefer that too, actually.
Yeah, I think I'm set up as well, Joe.
Okay, good.
Let me see if we could bring it up. I had it on my screen a minute ago. There we go. No, that's not the one though, right? I got the wrong screen. Hold on. I have 5 screens going, so I'm a little different than the average bear. Okay, so here's the community screen. They call it circles. So there's a bunch of different links that you can go into. There's a feed. We've had a blog. I've been putting up with different articles up here that I kind of came across, just so you guys can kind of keep in the loop of what's going on. Some different things. So we have a little bit of everything in here actually. So there's a bunch of stuff when you get a chance, if you guys want to run through there. Then we have a group chat. If you guys want to, kind of come up with things or questions, one of us will be in there answering and replying. We have a short sale room. We pretty much broke it up so that there'd be a room for a bunch of different things, so you guys can kind of go in there and play around. And eventually, as the group fills out, when we get the Keller Williams people more involved and in the group, we'll have, there'll be hundreds of people in there at a time. So since we're still rolling this out, we're all going through the learning process together on working our way through Kajabi. I didn't expect it to be this tricky, but that's how it is. It's definitely a lot of moving parts. So, and Heidi's the technology superstar, even though she doesn't want to admit it, but she's definitely the superstar. So, in any case, so
Well,
that's just a quick
I'm
run
trying
through.
to figure it out too. So
You could hit it from your desktop or your phone. On the phone, it's a lot easier because you just actually see these little shortcuts or these little links, and you can kind of just click and go through them. So on the desktop, obviously it looks a little different, but it works. So there's news articles that were just different things that came in, like the default rates and stuff. So I was posting a bunch of different things. So I've been seeing lately a bunch of news hitting, and obviously after the election, they say prices usually go up anywhere from 6 to 9% in just about every election. So in every market, in every election, we'll see a brief increase right after the election, and then as January rolls in, towards the middle of January, we'll start to see the correction take place. So that's kind of what the news articles are all talking about.
Do you say home prices are going to go up that much?
Yeah, they usually go up 6 to 8% after every election. I mean, that's just like, I saw that on Fox News. And
is it sales or prices, like number of sales or the price point?
Value should be going up, and we'll see. I did price reductions on my listings today and during the week because it's been slow. Showings have definitely been down. I mean, from what I've been seeing, and that's going across my stuff and some of the stuff from Open Door, because I see some of the numbers they've had. Showings are definitely down, and I think because every time the Fed drops the rate, the interest rates go up. So we had John Abramovich was at our office meeting on Thursday, and somebody had said, "Hey, interest rates went down 1/4 of a point," and he goes, "No, the interest rates are based on the bond market, so actually they're going up." And they just had went up on Thursday again. So I think that's definitely quieting things down a little bit because people could afford less. So 1% makes a world of difference in your payment. So as those rates go up, it definitely slows things down. But as I talked to, I was kind of hoping to have one or two of the REO lenders on, kind of see what they're seeing before we get into the scripts. But nobody was available today. And what, just from talking to them, what's been going on is people have been refining out their equity still, and they still have an abundance of refis rolling through. So and I think we talked about it once before, the people that were in on the 2 and 3% rate loans when the rates were low, we thought they'd stay in their house forever and never sell their house, but right now they're all struggling, obviously, as costs are up. So what they're doing is they're refining out that equity, and now they're in at 6 and 7% loans. So that's definitely going to make a big difference on the pocket because your payments double, maybe even triple in some cases, depending. So, luckily I'm at a fixed rate, but every month I struggle. I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. Freaking rate. But so there's also news articles out that it's cheaper to rent than own. So I think Zillow put something out, and also Mortgage Bankers Association. So in different areas, it's cheaper to rent than own. I think in Vegas, I think we're still probably kind of in line with each other. I think in Southern California, you have to have a lot of money down today to buy and get in at a decent rate. So I think those people definitely would be renting. I don't know if Mike has seen any. Mike, are you seeing more on the more people renting than buying in your market?
I need to run an analysis. It's been a while since I've done that, Joe. I need to update that.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, again, so what I see just from the, my listings that I have, less people have been in the mix, less showings. I do see some agents struggling with that ever since the NAR settlement, having that buyer broker agreement. So I know in California, what we're starting to see is less agents are nailing people down to that buyer broker agreement, and they're limiting it to like an amount of properties they're showing. So what I've seen is, at least again, this is based on my listings. I'm starting to see the agents, kind of communicate like, hey, I'm going to say, if I need to make this work, I only have these people on 2 properties, this and another one that I showed them, and then they're free to look with other agents. So the agents are working really hard to make the deal work on the buyer side than they were in the past. In the past, you can go out, they'll show 3-4 houses, they'll take them out, 3-4 days later, show them 3-4 houses, and then they're kind of in the mix. Now, I think the people aren't committing to the agent unless the agent shows them value. And that's probably one of the things we'll talk about down the road. And you know what? With the system, now that we're in the Kajabi system, we can set up these meetups pretty much at any time. So if anybody has questions and you want to kind of just do a one-on-one, Heidi and I could jump in. We could set something up with you, and we can just jump in and go over it. So we don't have to pin it down to our twice a month that we're looking on these Zoom calls. So if somebody should come up with something and say, hey, I'm struggling with, knocking the buyer down to signing the buyer broker agreement, that would be probably a 20-30 minute kind of ordeal in itself to go through. So we can definitely do that. So you could go into the chat and post something like that, and then we can set it up. As far as the scripts, gosh, we have so many things lined up. I mean, Heidi pretty much emptied the toolbox, and gosh, I bet you she's got, as I'm looking at this, there's got to be, what do you have, at least 20-25 different scripts here?
Yeah, well, that's
So there's
just
a lot.
it. I mean, I have way more on different topics, but that's just literally for this particular piece. But yeah, yeah, we'll go through it, and you'll get a link to a download. I'm so echoey all of a sudden.
Yeah, you're echoing again.
I know.
It's like you're in a tunnel. Are you in a tunnel there?
Mm-hmm.
We're not in the official podcast room that we were in last week, so but there's definitely gonna be some echoes. I might have a dog barking or something like that too, so be prepared. We're dog friendly at my house.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to quickly, before you get in.
Sorry, to quickly tack on the meetup part. The meetups, and if you see on his screen right there at the top, right next to feed, that's where our additional training will be. Do you want to click on that, Joe, up at the top?
Where?
Next to
up here? Feed. Okay.
Next to the feed. Yeah. So if you click on feed, it looks kind of like Facebook, but yeah. So like if you click on the meetups right next to it. Yeah. So like next week, I'm going to do a couple trainings. I'm going to do one on creating all your content for next year using AI. Kind of based on some of the things that we're going to talk about here in a few, but that's where it'll be held. It'll be in a room just kind of like this. And that's, basically the way that meetups work too. It's kind of cool because you can always have like a room open. So what we can host events in there that are a specific time, but we can also do like impromptu meetups for certain groups. Later down the road, we may have like REO meetups or short sale meetups, and we can have specific rooms that are always open and available. to anyone to jump in. You know what I mean? So you don't have to wait for us to create it and host it or anything. And then you can also just hit the live button and create one just on the fly. And then it'll generate a link that you can share. And it's a million times easier than Zoom. So just the people have to be within the system. So they'll need to, sign up through our link or whatever. But in fact, let me give that to you. So if you've got people that you think would be good fits for this, you can share it with them. And basically right now we've got 2 programs. We've got the free one that you guys are in, just called Explore. And for the time being, everything is just kind of open and accessible to everybody. As we start publishing more of the things, some of them will only be available to, the paid membership. But like right now, especially because you guys are so patient, you're our guinea pigs. I mean, you have carte blanche to it all. But anyway, that's kind of how the meetups work.
Oh, and you know what? I just wanted to add something, Heidi, that you and I were just talking about. So just so you guys are aware, with the system, there's a lot of different things we can do. So Heidi is building out, and it's available in there. It's going to be a agent directory, and how we're going to use it is instead of so things have changed since COVID. So there's less traveling. So the likelihood of us doing in-person client presentations on the REO level are very slim. I mean, you might catch somebody at a conference, going from room to room, and you got a couple minutes with them, but typically everything's going to be online and via, Meet or Zoom. So now that we have this built into the community, one of the things we have that's going to be set up is we're going to be able to do client agent interviews. So we have it set up where a client can access our directory. They can find an agent, click on the agent, and set up a meet with the agent. So as this grows out, and we have more agents in the group and in the network, and I can actually build out across the country, I'm going to be able to get on a Zoom. Oh, well, not a Zoom. I keep calling it a Zoom. I'm sorry. I meet up with the client, and I'm going to be able to say, okay, so what are the trouble areas? And they might say, hey, Long Beach, California, right now I have a bunch of properties that I'm getting ready to put out. I'm like, you know what? Let me bring Mike in. Mike's an expert in Long Beach. His office is there. He covers covers all of LA County. Let me send him a message, and I'll have him jump in, and you can meet Mike, and he could talk to you a little bit about his market. And then we have that ability to just add people right into the mix on the fly, which would kind of be neat. So I'd be able to, and I don't know exactly how it's going to go down because Heidi's still working on this and building it. But the way I'm thinking is, in the middle of that client presentation from the system, we'll probably shoot you out maybe this Meet link through text, and then see if you're available, and you'll be able to jump right in and kind of meet up and get things rolling. And then they can discuss what do they need, what system they use, and hey, you need to go in and set up in ResNet. Are you active in ResNet? What's your ResNet ID? And then we'll have everybody here. So in the past, what had happened is, when you're referring a broker, people have said, like a client would reach out to me and say, hey, do you have anybody for Tallahassee, Florida? And I'd be like, oh yeah, we have a guy for Tallahassee. Hold on, let me get you his information, or let me reach out to him. So now we can almost make this, kind of a what do you call it, speeding it up. Whereas I'd be able to send you out that message and see if you're available, get you right on, and you can be face to face over camera, let's say, with whoever it is, and then you could, with that initial introduction, would be a lot smoother. So it's not like you're emailing and then you're setting up a call cold. I'll be able to, bring you in and, blow a world of smoke about you to whoever it is. So, if it was a client for St. George, Utah, I'd be able to bring Heidi in and say, hey, I've just brought Heidi Skinner in. She's right here. She's our preferred agent in St. George. She knows it like the back of her hand. I've been working with her a long time. Let's just bring her in. Poop, Heidi pops up on the camera. Everybody gets introduced. And then we start talking about what they're looking for, what they need. And what's good with this too is it's also going to work with, and that's something that we have to figure out. What about on the homeowner side, on let's say a short sale situation? Would we be able to bring a negotiator in live?
I mean, On short sales, like our negotiator or a bank one?
Our negotiator.
Oh,
Yeah. So
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In fact, I think what will happen is once we'll have circles for it, but we'll have a group and like a meetup room specifically like for short sale negotiators, transaction coordinators. We're going to get to it in a second, but we're getting ready to launch the VA program and we're going to start with the marketing. So that will be an entire circle and meetups so that you can talk directly to our marketing person or people.
Can I,
and we'll also
can I
have
ask a
the field
couple
search.
questions real quick? Because
Please.
we have a nurse coming over here in 10 minutes. She just called, so I'm gonna have to jump off. This is being recorded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
so I can go back and watch it. And then I went to the link and it says you have to pay $199 a month. Is that being waived right now?
I'm trying to find the free one. I'm gonna look for it
Okay.
and send it to you. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna generate a code. Actually, yeah. Give me a second.
Okay.
Could continue. Do you have other questions though? While you're
No, I was just gonna let you know I'm gonna have to jump real quick. So
okay, awesome.
is the door? They're at the door.
Hello, there's Martin. Hey, Martin, what's happening, buddy? So we can't hear Martin. Is your microphone off?
Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah, this.
You're muted.
I think you should hear me now. Can you?
Cindy,
Yeah,
grab
we
that
hear you.
link before you go. I'm going to send you a cut. This will be recorded, and there will be some other links that I'm posting in the community. But there's that one before you take off too quick.
Okay.
And then real quick, I wanted to touch on one thing before you go, Cindy. Just like we're going to have that VA piece built in, we're also going to have that field inspector piece built out. Where if, let's say, you have reoccurring inspections weekly. So one of the things I've always done to sell myself, and Mike can attest to this, most clients, if they want re-inspections, it's going to be monthly or bi-weekly. I usually tell them, hey, every week we're out to the property, but it's impossible because we all get busy. So once we're all at the point where we have 50 or 60 listings, you can't be everywhere, then you start hiring people. So to hire field people, I mean, we broke it down to piecework where, they get paid for each task they do. But we're going to have this built out kind of like the VA piece. We're going to have that field services piece built out. We'll be able to, kind of go in if you're a little overmatched or you're getting busy, you'll be able to go in and someone can go take photos. You can pretty much put the property address in and then they'll assign, they call it a photographer, but it's a field guy. He'll go out and actually take photos and do the inspection and then send you all the results. You get it. That's more of a 24-hour turnaround. So you get it the next day and you be able to upload it all in if you can't do it yourself. So that's another piece.
I had to mute it when I got the call, so I missed all of the marketing stuff, but I'll go back and watch later.
Okay. All right. On the script side, so let's get back to the script piece. Before we go, before Heidi gets deep in her magical scripts, and I have to tell you, I've been reading through some of these. I can't even believe that she has this much of an arsenal. Talk about a toolbox. I think it's I don't even know what to call it. I call it storage units full. She's got storage units full of things. I'm more of an on the fly guy. I do things a little differently. I'm not as organized as Heidi, but we talked briefly on when we were talking about the notice of defaults and some of the things that work getting hold of these people. And right now, I think that's where the business is until we get through the holidays and then at REO. So, typically over the years from Halloween to the second week in January, they're kind of, the banks kind of do like a moratorium. There'll be some REO that trickles through, and it might be the people that have been foreclosed on and contesting their foreclosure a few times. Those might be the assignments that come out, but typically you don't see anything till that second week in January. So now the money in the bank is on those notice of default people. So one of the and some of them turn into short sales, some of them turn into equity sales. They can be almost anything. One of the things that work for me, and I think I talked about on one of the calls, is text messaging. So before Heidi gets into her magical scripts, I just want to drop a few quick, easy ones would be the text messaging. So the notice of default list we don't get with phone numbers. And one of the things we're working on also is Heidi's got a skip tracer that's going to dig up phone numbers for us, and maybe even emails if it's possible, so that we can kind of reach out on more of a subtle level. And one of the things I've done is, and they work. It's not going to be 10 out of 10 are going to work. It's going to be more of 1 out of 10 that you're going to get through to. Is I started with text messages. And then I've also done email, but I do a blind copy group email. And then what I'll do is, and I'll keep hitting the same things, the same group of people. So if I have a notice of default list, so escrow title sends out that notice of default list weekly. I don't know if you guys are getting it. We get it from Fidelity, right, Martin? Do you get it from Fidelity?
I'm
You
not
getting your
getting it
notice of
yet.
default list?
I'm not getting it yet, but I'll be talking to them Monday morning.
Yeah, reach out to the girls or whoever you work with.
Yeah,
WFG does it. First American does it. So there's a couple people that have it outside of Fidelity. So the one I have, Heidi's managed to get me phone numbers and email addresses, which is kind of cool. And I've been sending out the group email. So I blind copy them and I send myself the email at my KW email address. And it's just subtle. It's again, you don't want to tell them that we know they're in default and they're bad people and how dare they not pay their bills, because that's the last thing they want to hear. You want to be a little more upbeat. So I'll just do a quick. My email is very small. It'll have my signature line and all that on it, and all the markets that I'm in is all built into that signature line. And it's generic from the Keller Williams mykw.com email, not vegasreo.com or socalreo.com. It's more generic, so I can literally put everybody in there. So I do the 4 counties in California, and I do my Clark County in Nevada. And I mean, basically, if you're licensed in the state of Nevada, I would do all of Nevada. If you're licensed in California, I would hit all of California. I mean, why not? And if it turns out that somebody reaches out to you from, let's say San Bernardino, and Mike's in LA County, and he's like, well, that might be too far for me. I mean, in all honesty, it isn't depending on traffic timing. So you can get to it. So again, my emails are simple. It's, hey, my name's Joe Iucci. I'm with Keller Williams Realty. I'm trying to think of what exactly I have to pull up let me pull up one of the emails so that I'm not giving you guys misinformation. Hold on. And then let me just do the texts while I'm talking about it. So I'll send out a text message also, and my text message is simple. Hey, if you or anyone you know in your neighborhood is thinking about selling their home, please reach out to me. We offer a cash offer program, and I can have an offer for you in 24 hours, and you can close as quick as 10 days, or we can put it in the MLS and get you top dollar in 30 to 45. And that's subtle. It's a short text. I think texting is big. I'm a big text guy. I'll text somebody more than I'd call them. I think what happens when you text them, it's on their phone. They don't have to look at it until they're ready. They'll click on it, they'll look at it, and they'll save it. A lot of people save their text messages. Unless you're someone who has something to hide, then you delete your text messages. So I have friends that I've text messaged, oh, I deleted it already. I'm like, dude, what are you hiding on your phone, man? You shouldn't be deleting it. Save it. Everything I send you is important. So I'll send that text out, and I won't get a response immediately. I might get it later in the day. And also, people are at work, and they may look at it quickly, and maybe they're doing a job where they're moving their hands and they can't look at it until 5, 6 o'clock. The same day, I always get a message back, or the next day on text. Email, it could take up to 2 or 3 days before they actually realize, hey, let me call this guy. Let me email him back. I get respond emails, but the email will bring a phone call. And one of the things I did is I have 800 numbers, which again, so I'm licensed in 3 states. I can't send an email out with a Vegas phone number if I'm trying to attract a California or New York person. they're not going to understand, like, why would I call this guy in Vegas? So I have, because of me, it's me, and I like to do things crazy. I have an open phone, through open phone, I open an account with them, and it's kind of like an online phone system. And I have different area codes. I also have different cell phone area codes, don't get me wrong. But to keep it simple, you can do that. You could do Google Voice, you could do a Google Voice number, or an 800 numbers more in general. So I have a couple 800 numbers that I got through open phone, and people call back on the number, they leave a message, and the first thing I do is I'll text from the number, because if they left a message, they probably want a phone call, but I want to know when they're available. So if I don't get it, let's say I'm busy and I don't get it until 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, they might be tired, or they don't want to deal with it. Maybe they got home and there's more bills that came in the mail and they're frustrated. So they might wait till the next morning and respond back. So when I send the message out, I wait and see. I'll send the text out. Hey, I got your email. When are you available to chat? And then they'll respond back, and then I'll get some brief information. Like, obviously we're going to want their address, because when you're just getting an email back or a phone number back and it doesn't have the address in it, you're going to need your address. So I'll say, oh, do you want to share the area you live in or your property address? And they'll usually say, I'm in so like LA County has different areas, so they might say, I'm in Chatsworth. Oh, great. Okay. So now I could go back to these mega default lists that I will have and search for them and try and figure out who they are. Or the first thing I'll do on the call is, when I do get to the call, or if they'll give it to me through text, it's even better. And I was just talking to Martin about this yesterday. If they give you the information by text, it'll give you time to look at it. I'm a big fan of RPR. So I'll open the RPR app. And I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it, right?
I've never used it.
You've never used it, Heidi? You're such a, I can't believe it.
I think that was Cindy.
What am I going to do here?
No, it was me.
Oh, Cindy, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Here I am beating up on Heidi.
I know it's in the MLS.
So,
it's awesome.
Yeah. So I download the app. I also keep it on my desktop. You could put the address up here. Let me think of something I have. Let's see here. 2017 Mesquite. Of course, I probably stolen it wrong. Is it 217? Well, how about this? Sorry, 8417 Starstruck. This is one of my listings. So when I got this, I'll tell you a quick story, because Joe's full of stories, right? It wouldn't be fair if I didn't tell you a story. When I got this listing, came from a referral from another Keller Williams agent, and he was in Texas. So if you get strange calls and it's odd numbers, well, I would always, I Google the phone number first, and this came up that this guy was an agent in Texas somewhere. So I assumed it was a referral. I called him up, talked to him for a few minutes. He sent me over to his brother's property here in Vegas. And he asked me about, do you know the area? Are you familiar with it? So it's up in the northwest.
I got to run, but I'll watch later.
No problem. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you. I'm going to leave it on in case she leaves early.
Thanks for jumping in. And it gives you like an RVM. They call that the Realtor Evaluated Module. So it's like an AVM. It gives you like just Zillow. Like, when you go on Zillow pulls the same things. You can go to Zillow and get a price. Zillow is never accurate. I think RPR is fairly accurate. So here's the value on RPR. And when we started our conversation, he asked me, are you familiar with the area? I said, yeah, they're going to run between, depending on what the property looks like, between 607 somewhere to 630. And he said, oh, great. Okay, well, here, call them and let's make arrangements, go see the property. And then when I called the brother, I actually gave him that RVM number, and I said, it's going to be based on, again, me seeing the property and the condition of the property. But off the top of my head, that's what I think the property's worth. So I use this all the time. I also use this, again, before I go on a listing, I'll print some of the stuff. It has a ton of trends. You can shoot reports out. You can get market reports and post it.
Show them the market trends thing, because that's really cool. And that's a really good piece to use in your marketing. for next
Yeah,
year.
so here's the market trends. And it gives you average days on RPR, which would be days on the market, median sold price, listing the sold percentage. So it's kind of cool to have the ability to just pull it up instantly, whether it's on your phone or on your desktop. You could do it on the fly. So if you're in your car, hit the RPR app. Just if you're talking to somebody, you could pull up some rough numbers. That's why I like the range, because you can give them the range. Every property, no matter what, you have to see it. As agents, we always have to see the property. So we can't just jump in there and, assume it's in perfect condition. I've had people tell me the property's in perfect condition and I got there and I couldn't even believe they live in it. That's how bad it was. So anyway, so I use RPR all the time. You can do a CMA in here. You can get neighborhood information. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff that you can do with that. So it's always a nice little tool that we have. And also too, if you're sending out a referral to an agent in a different area, you can bring the address up and you can give them some for instance, like, hey, I know it's between whatever 400 and 450, just off the top of my head, so that's probably what you're going to be looking at. So that's what I do with that. That's the text and what I do. How do you want to talk about some of your amazing stuff that you have?
Well, and really,
let me stop sharing.
I think, I mean, the big reason that we keep talking about like the stats and stuff is, I mean, it really is the best approach, not just to get default listings, but really to get any listings right now. And it's really just establishing yourself as the local market expert. Last time we went through the Altos market reports in a little more detail, so I'm not going to do that, but I love RPR. I really love, I would say that this, let me find it. I would still say this is hands down my favorite tool because you can use it for a bunch of different things. So when you run a report, and I went through and kind of showed you what that looked like last week, but you can use, number one, you can use the links in your content on social media or whatever, but you can actually use those graphics on a newsletter or on your postcards, or if you're thinking about starting a farm or anything. And then you can have it, what I would do is add a QR code to, your like sign up page with them, and then use their, that particular zip code's graphics. And literally the call to action would be, look online to get your home specific value. Like, here's the stats in your zip or whatever. You can really get as molecular as you want, but I would probably do it by zip code. But you can use those graphics. The other thing that it does too is you can use it for your Facebook ads, and then you can repixel it. And so if you're doing like video or some kind of live content, it gives you a good excuse to come up with like new stuff every week. And it gives you kind of a summary. Let me pull up this one I did last week. But it really gives you a lot of talking points. This week, the median list price is 810 with a market index hovering around 34. And really what you're watching here personally is the trends, but that's what we need to program our homeowners in our database to be watching as well. Because number one, they need to. We're trying to predict the future of not just what homes sell for now, but 3 or 4 months from now. But the market is shifting constantly, and you want to make sure that you're the person that they call to interpret all this stuff. So I just love it because it gives you really like one thing that you can repurpose 100 different ways. The other huge advantage about kind of using this approach is the market is that it's easier to reach out to some of the defaults. Because we're gonna am I echoey? Am I echoing?
You're echoing again.
Okay, I wonder. It's probably because I'm sharing my screen.
No, you're actually.
Huh?
Yeah, I think that might be it.
Maybe I'll stop.
I think it might be because you're sharing your screen.
Yeah, I'll just stop sharing it for a second. But the really important reason that I love being able to use that kind of approach is that number one, you're just going to be established. Like you have so much credibility in the community, but you also have a really good, easy way of communicating with people in default without directly saying, hey, I know you're late on your payments. You know what I mean? And there's tons of different variations on what to say and how to say it. To be honest, I'm not the most scripty person either. I mean, I was definitely anti-scripts the first couple of years I started in real estate. And then I learned pretty quick that number one, I sounded like an idiot if I didn't have, like something to start with. And number two, I kept repeating the same stuff anyway. So it all is a script. It's like you just kind of refine your process. But basically, these are based on what hasn't worked, and just use it as kind of a starting point. This doesn't have to be the end all be all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my link rather than my screen, and then you can kind of pull it up yourself. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm going to paste the link for it in the chat. Let me know when you guys get it up.
Oh man, look at you. You're making us all work now. Hold on.
Oh, I know.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Perfect.
Got it.
Got it.
Okay, again, I'm not a salesperson for Altos, although I should be. And again, there's a billion different tools that you can use. It's not really about the tool. It's about the follow-up system. And again, the reason I like Altos is because it's for the consumers. And so it has like a newsletter that goes out automatically. And because it comes from their email servers, you don't have to worry about it bouncing. You don't have to have your assistant add it to their list. You just know what's going to happen. And it's like extremely cheap. But it gives, here's the reason in a nutshell that I like this particular one the most and believe me, I try everything, but it gives weekly updates. It gives a market narrative. So it explains it in like an easy way to understand. And you can see the at a glance market status on the right side of the report, and then it gives like real-time market trends. And then you can also look at buyer demand indicators, and then it also breaks everything down into 4 different buckets, so you can really get pretty granular in your particular market, because we all know, sometimes it's a completely different market in the luxury market versus the mid-range versus some of the lower markets. And a lot of times that information is hard to find in the MLS reports. And it's also hard for homeowners to understand that or to see it. And so that's what that bottom section is down there. So it gives them really kind of a decent idea. Now, some of the scripts, again, these are literally like start with this, but you're going to want to adjust them so they sound like you. Some of them aren't going to work in certain areas. I mean, there are some things that really are local. So, I mean, just use this as a guide. But basically, the important thing is that you want to be empathetic and compassionate and not assuming. And you also don't want to like imply directly that there's financial trouble or even acknowledge that, they're behind. And if they ask you, how'd you get your information? There's tons of different scripts on here. We'll kind of go through that. And you can just adjust it based on what you feel comfortable with. But it makes it so much easier when you can say, like, I literally am a market expert and, I'm working on getting information so you can see what your home is worth. Okay, here's the general outreach. I'm echoing again. Okay, this first chunk is like, I work with homeowners in the area to provide resources on local real estate options. If you or anyone you know is considering exploring options with their property, feel free to reach out anytime. I'd be any way I can. And then if you do want to follow up, or if they respond positively, you can say, Oh man, that echo is so annoying. Just so I can provide the best info, would you like a general market update or do you have specific questions about the process? I can always share ways other homeowners are maximizing their options in this market. So now people that are stuck, this is a huge thing because, you know, like we mentioned many times, there's so many people that are going to be living on their cash out refis because, you know, they're using it to pay their bills. So essentially they're just kind of kicking the problem down the road a little bit. And that's why all of these are really kind of designed to be able to stay in touch and keep that dialogue open. Some homeowners I've worked with lately have been feeling a bit stuck with their property, whether that's due to life changes or just feeling unsure about the next steps. If that sounds like something you or someone you know may be experiencing, I'm happy to share some solutions or resources. Feel free to reach out anytime. So again, not really, you know, and it sounds general enough that they're not going to think that you're targeting them. And a lot of people are feeling stuck right now. So what I like about that particular strip is it's really diving into, you know, a very specific emotion. Okay, here's another one. We want to approach the financial question. I work closely with homeowners. Oh my gosh, this echoey is crazy. Joe, do you want to try to read it and see if it echoes on your end?
Yeah, let me bring it up. Hold on.
Anyway, I'll try not to. But basically, I work closely with homeowners who may be facing financial challenges and just want to explore their options without urgency if you're interested. I'm here to discuss potential steps you could take to ease the pressure. Anyway, there's a whole bunch in here, but the big key is use neutral, non-assumptive language, words like explore option, anticipate the next step, maximize your property's potential. And a lot of these, you can do variations for phone scripts as well. You know what I mean? You can tweak these for cold calling. Do you want to read, Joe, and maybe it won't echo?
I'm looking for it now. I misplaced it. Hold on.
Look in the links in the chat if you need it.
Oh, in this chat. Okay. All right. You son of a gun. You're so good. Who's the best?
Heidi, while you're talking about technical issues, how do I turn my camera on? I see Martin was able to access his. Mine's not functioning.
Yeah, you know what? I had to down on the bottom. Is it gray or red?
Yeah, it's gray, and it's got an X on it.
Okay. Leave the room and see if you can come back in and see if it lets you, because that's what happened to me. It wouldn't let me turn mine on, and I had to leave it and just jump back in.
All right.
We'll wait for you.
No, it's all right. Go ahead. It's not that big a deal. I'm just curious. I was just curious if I was missing something.
No, I don't know why but it did that to me. So it's not a you thing, I don't think. I'm going to ask here. I'm going to ask to turn the camera on, and maybe, did you get a notification?
Yeah, I just acknowledged it.
Let's see if that worked.
No. Sorry, don't worry.
You know, Mike, I always have technology problems. Either my microphone doesn't work or my camera doesn't work. So we usually get on half an hour to an hour ahead of time and just try to fix whatever's broken on my side. Yeah. So by the time we start, Heidi's patience level with me is very low because she's already been
in the priority of stuff in life events. This is very low. It's not
exactly. Exactly. Well, and you know what? I could be as impatient as I want, but I screw up stuff all the time. So I can, I have no reason to be impatient, because smart as anyone can be, like, all of this is not dummy proof. Okay, so going back to the text using the Altos market reports, and this is more about kind of leveraging the stats, but this particular text is, I've been reviewing the latest market data for whatever the neighborhood is, and there are some interesting trends that could impact your home's value. If you're interested, I'd love to send over a quick report or answer any questions. I love that one. I love it. And again, it's like not talking directly to the fact that they're in default. And then, of course, there's the monthly market snapshots. Hello, I send out monthly market snapshots to keep local homeowners informed about price trends and market conditions. Would you like me to add you to the list? So I've got a few different variations on that you can look at. And again, just substitute it for whatever you want. But here's some tips for using this approach, using the stats and the data approach. Be very specific. That helps a lot. So use their particular neighborhood because it makes it sound more personal, but don't be creepy. Like, that's the fine line. Personal, not creepy. Mention the data points that Altos reports are particularly strong in, like demand indicators, price per square foot trends. Now, we all know price per square foot trends most of the time is kind of irrelevant, but because people think it matters and it's on that report and people always want to look at it because it's just easy for them to kind of grasp that, I wouldn't hesitate on throwing that out there. And then offer value beyond sales talk. They want to know that you care, that you're not just trying to get a listing. And I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir on this, but every interaction, any kind of conversation, whether that's a social media conversation, a text conversation, a phone conversation, or whatever, should have 3 different purposes. You're either trying to establish a new relationship, and that doesn't mean selling. That means literally just establishing a new relationship, coming from a place of genuineness, and seeing if there's, something that you can offer a value to help. It's coming from a service standpoint. The second thing that you should always be doing, if it's not a new relationship, is cultivating and nurturing that relationship. And then the third one, obviously, is asking for business when it's appropriate and you've really kind of earned the right and have the credibility. But all of these interactions, whether it's text or whatever, you want to kind of keep that in mind. But don't get, especially these types of leads, don't be too thirsty about it. You have to come from a genuine place and really be compassionate and understand, try to figure out what stage of the process they're in. And then also, you always want to get to the house. So always be trying to go visit them at their house, because whether you call it that or not, that's a listing appointment. And then there's a whole other section on here of other ways that you can leverage the Altos data or whatever it is that you're doing. I already kind of went through that. But again, here's a bunch of, and these are all text scripts. These particular ones. I do have some call ones I'm going to get through, but any of these can be converted into anything else. And if you just take the start of what I gave you, pop it into ChatGPT and just say, like, tweak it so it sounds more like me, or tweak it so that it, adds this particular point or whatever. Leverage AI on some of this stuff and make it sound more personal and, more of a fit for your business.
Hey, Heidi, just to give you a little breath, you're on a roll. I hate to interrupt you, but CoreLogic also has let me see if I could bring it up on my screen. CoreLogic also has a thing. Wait, let me see. Why am I not being able to do this? Let me share my screen. So they have is this it? They have e-property watch, and you get your own link that you could post on social media. You can iframe it into your website, and people can set up and once a month. So here's kind of what the widget looks like that would be on your website. This down here, do you guys see that? Can you see that? Oh, I have to show you. Okay, so this down here is just a little box that'll show up on your website, or you can even have a link to email, and it'll just once a month, it's going to send them a, similar to that Altos report, it's going to send them an update on their property value. So it's just once. So it's going to be one email once a month. Here's your property value. So it's more subtle, but it's some way, like, what are we doing? Like, one of the things we talk about all the time is, what are we doing to keep up with our database? So all of us have been in the business a long time. We must have, what, 7,000-8,000 people in our database. So when I first came to Keller Williams years ago, the OP, operating principal, the owner of the office, Debbie used to say to me all the time, "Who's calling your database?" How about my team will call your database? We'll call your database and we'll split the deals that come out of it. And I'm like, why would I lose? I'll just leave them there dormant, let them lay in the grass until I
Let
come
them
up
go.
with something or they contact me. But that's the biggest thing, is pirating somebody's database today. It's like everybody always wants, I'll call your database, but you do need to keep in contact with them. And you know what? Heidi's gotten me into a bunch of the little different things that I'm sending out to my database where they're getting, probably like a weekly notification of something just to keep in touch. And it doesn't always have to be about real estate. So one of the agents that we know, he sends out things happening in Vegas or things happening in Orange County, an event calendar. Most of the escrow people put those together. That's something neat to send out. Hey, there are things that are happening in November in LA County, and just pop it out to them. You could even text it to them. You could rebrand it and send it out. And this way they at least you're hitting them. And I know it's hard because we're doing so much and we're running around. We don't have time for this, but you have to touch that database. So
yeah,
right,
I think
sorry,
that's an excellent point. No, I think that's an excellent point, especially if you've got, I mean, what I want to do this coming week for the meetup is show you how to generate all of the sales copy for all your marketing, literally for the entire year. And literally in just a couple days, you'll be able to do it. But you kind of got to start macro to micro. And again, doesn't matter, if you already have specific branding and like approaches that you're using that are effective, awesome. But the easiest way to get people to actually want to talk to you is, again, I know I kind of keep beating the dead horse, but it's just establishing yourself as the market expert and doing video. I mean, that really, I am probably not the one to teach that one because I hate being on the video. Joe's really good at it, and he's really good about.
You are so great on video.
Well, I kind of be a hypocrite too. It is so effective. It is literally the best thing you could do, especially combined with this date. I don't do it, but I should be. You know who else is really exceptional if you follow him on Facebook? But Jeremy Larkin in my old market in St. George is really good. He's really good about getting on there and being consistent and just interpreting the data. And every week, whenever he's doing it consistently, he's right there letting everybody know what the market's doing. So I think it's more important, just like pick something and then make it be automated. Now, again, the reason I still like Altos more is you can use it for the graphic images are so good that you can use it for postcards. You can also do it for paid ads. It does have a newsletter that will go out automatically again, and you can actually use it to sign up your database. It doesn't have to just be like new leads coming into it. In fact, I think you can import it. It's probably a direct connection with your CRM, but it doesn't matter. The point is just like find something. Oh, it's doing the echoey thing again. Okay. It's driving me nuts.
Wow, I think you need a new microphone, girl.
I think I have too many windows open, to be honest.
Probably.
Okay, so I do want to go through a couple of the call scripts. So now here's the call scripts for your database about the market reports. So, hi, Joe, this is Heidi, your favorite realtor. I'm reaching out today. Okay, and of course, make this sound like you. But I'm reaching out because I've been helping clients in our community stay informed about the real estate market, and I thought you might benefit from this information as well. Are you keeping an eye on the market trends? Oh, awesome. Great. I've been sending out personalized market reports that include specific insights on home values, inventory trends, and neighborhood stats. This is kind of a lot, but these reports provide a snapshot of what's happening, and they also predict future market movements. So then there's one about reconnecting with past clients facing challenges. I wanted to reach out because I've been focusing on providing valuable insights through personalized market reports, especially for homeowners who might be feeling uncertain. These reports highlight key metrics, including price brackets and market trends that can help clarify the current situation and future predictions. And then I've got the ones to your SOI are actually, relatively easy. I mean, it's literally just some kind of variation of I'm watching the market. we need to be in touch. We need to stay in touch. Now, I do have a bunch of cold calling scripts on there too. I'm not going to go through them all, but there are a bunch. And then there's also some email scripts to your database. So that monthly market snapshot email is a really good one. And then here's, like, I kind of already have gone over this, but here's some additional ideas for reviving some of your sale relationships. But the first one is getting at least a quarterly newsletter out. If you can automate it, even better. But the important thing is obviously having local market trends, recent sales, and things like home maintenance tips. And also you could do content on how to stage your home with $0 or 5 things that you can do to add $10,000 to the price. I have absolutely a ton of marketing hooks and actually marketing content and stuff I can share with you guys, as well as AI prompts that will get you started. But yeah, you could knock all this out really in just a couple days. Also, the anniversary check-ins are always awesome. And just get a virtual assistant or one of your assistants to go back through all of your past sales or go through the MLS and get those dates on a calendar. And that's a fantastic excuse to reach back out to your past clients. And then a real estate advice series. This, again, is super effective if you do it with video, especially if you combine it with email. But just don't make them super long or overwhelming. Just come up with some super short, actionable tips. And then let them know they can unsubscribe anytime. Then email signups for specific data. I kind of with that Altos research report. And then, of course, like seasonal emails. And then I also went through, I'm not going to bore you, but if you scroll down to the market reports explanation, one thing that's really hard for agents to learn how to do is kind of interpret what all of these reports mean into a language that's easily understandable. So basically what I did was I took each kind of chunk of this and then I put it into a little script. And that way, if they're asking you questions, you can jump around. You know what I mean? You don't have to go in a particular order. And of course you can revise it, but this is just something to start with. But basically, understanding this information can significantly impact your decisions regarding your property, especially in a market as dynamic as ours. That is the winner. That sentence right there is very powerful. And then you go through, like, what are the market reports and why do you care? The point is we're trying to predict the future based on current trends. And then what key metrics are they looking at? So I went through and explained what is the MAI, and I just did the MAI because I'm talking specifically about the Altos research reports, stuff from the title company. That would be the absorption rate that you'd use for that. But what is the absorption rate? Why should they care? What has the trend been, and what do you predict the trend being? Other important metrics to cover is the median home price, the days on the market, inventory levels, and the sales volume. And the really crucial thing that you're going to be doing by talking about educating them is they are news bear. They're looking at the data. Echoey thing. Let me get back over here. Basically, it's kind of a don't shoot the messenger thing, because all you're doing is teaching them how to interpret the data. And it really, at some point, you can see only 10% of the homes in your price bracket are selling. We need to be in that 10%. So let's look on the MLS, find those 10 homes, and we know exactly where we need to be. This isn't an adversarial relationship. This is a, hey, we're both in this together trying to predict the future. Here's what matters and why. And it just removes that weird, contentious dynamic. And they're more realistic about doing price reductions because they already see if they don't be aggressive about it, they're going to be chasing the market. And if they're consistently looking at those trends, it's not hard, but what is hard sometimes is to explain all this stuff in layman's terms. So another thing that I really think is important to talk about with homeowners, and I see this mistake happen a lot. In fact, I literally was just eavesdropping on a conversation this last week with an agent and a homeowner in my complex. They've got a property listed, and I was listening to the whole thing, and I was like, oh man, trying to keep my mouth shut and sit on my hands. But they were very frustrated about how they don't think agents can do their job because we're very inaccurate. He was that inaccurate in his job, he'd be fired. But this is what I was praying this agent would explain, is how real estate is an inefficient market. And what that means is any stock, Bitcoin, commodity, whatever it is, at any given point, we know what that value is. Oh, the echoing is making me crazy. Let me see.
I wonder if it's your internet connection.
I don't know. Maybe. Let me close some things because I'm on a roll.
You got too many things open. You are on a roll. You're amazing.
Well, thank you. Flatter me so much, always. All right, I'm going to close all these things now. Anyway.
When I grow up, I want to be as smart as you.
Whatever. Okay, but I really do think this lead I don't want to what this point to extremely important to explain to people. Real estate is a very inefficient process, and it's that way by design. There's a lot of due diligence that has to go into it because they're high dollar values, and whether that due diligence comes from the buyers or it comes from the lender in the form of appraisals, there's a certain amount of time where all the invested parties need a minute to go through and make sure it's a decent investment. And we all know that what you do today, you're not going to see the results of for 3 or 4 months. And that could be whether we're talking about your lead gen, whether we're talking about sometimes the deals you're putting under contract, or we're talking about when real estate data is reflected into the CPI and all of the national stuff. So there's always a delay. The real art in understanding the property is really understanding on a macro and a micro level, where have we been, where are we now, and where are we going? And the only way that you really get good at that is looking at all these numbers consistently and then being able to start picking up patterns. But you have to be able to explain which metrics are lead measures and which metrics are lag measures. And the easiest way to explain that is if I'm going on a diet for New Year's, my lead measure, I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, the 10 pounds that I lose is my lag measure. My lead measure are all the things that I'm going to do to generate that lag measure. So how many calories am I eating? How often am I working out? Those are the lead measures. If we're looking at real estate, we're talking about days on market. We're looking at, some of the lag measures were the days sold, what it sold for. Can you hear me okay, Martin? Anyway, so I don't want to beat the dead horse, but that really is important to explain to people because then they're not as frustrated because you don't know. And you know what? At any given point, it's just a guess anyway. We just try to make the most informed guesses. But to find that sweet spot, it really is kind of a Venn diagram of what the homeowner needs, what a buyer is willing to pay, and then the other variables that are really kind of out of our control as far as like what loan programs are available, the condition of the house. But all three of those things have to be in alignment or it's, it ain't going to work. I also go through some of the market commentary. I go through and kind of explain the price brackets and the significance of that. Anyway, let's see. Oh, on the very bottom, here's some specific ways to kind of leverage some of these reports. So obviously into your website. Now you can also generate some of these reports as lead magnets too. So if you want funnels, maybe it's tied to a direct mail campaign with a QR code, and you can do those market snapshots as actual landing pages. On that page, it'll generate a link that you can share once you have an account. And so, you know, as soon as they go on there and convert, they're getting all that. Open houses. I mean, you really could use that as a way to stay in contact with people that come through. What I'd probably do is get like a stand, a little plastic stand, and again, put a QR code in it, something that's just like non-threatening. And then give examples. I would have probably printed out some market reports for that particular house that people can take with them and let them know they can get their own. And they can sign up to get updates automatically, and they don't even have to talk to you if they don't want. Obviously, on your blog and video content, direct mail, I think direct mail's a winner. I have an entire direct mail program with handwritten notes that I did 2 years ago with several agents, and we probably spent, I don't know, over $100K on direct mail stuff. So we figured out what worked and what didn't work. And from that, I have a whole guide on best practices. And the key really is handwritten notes, by the way. That's like kind of the moral of the story, but how to find the data, what to say, all that type of thing. That will be posted in our community at some point. But direct mail works. You just have to have a big budget. And I would probably wait, to be honest, because you can't create motivation. All you can do is discover it. And I don't think enough people are in pain enough to get a high enough mail. I think we're going to have to wait until next year when like reality sets in and some down. So I'd probably hold but I would create it as an entire offline, bringing them online, and then following up. Community groups and local events, you could speak. Honestly, you could, if you're really trying to establish yourself as the market expert, I mean, you could go speak at your board so that you're already establishing that with your own agents. But also speak at other events, B&I groups or with the chamber, or you could host online Zooms or with financial planners, or if you've got, affiliate relationships that they have your common audience. Everybody wants to know what's going on in the market, and they really want to hear from somebody that's credible. And what's great about a lot of these scripts is you're a trusted advisor. You're establishing your advisor, and not just a salesperson. You know what I mean? I really think it's going to matter. Anyway, client appreciation events, community partner. I think that's pretty much it. That was a lot.
Hey, can I take a brief second? I just want to show you guys what the default list that Heidi gets from me looks like, so you guys can kind of get a feel for it and see what. Let me bring it up real quick. Can you guys see that? Okay. So what's so cool about this is there's all the phone numbers for the addresses. This is San Diego County, so it's not going to help really any of you guys, but it's kind of neat because it has literally, if they're on the do not call, it has that they're marked on the do not call, so I don't have to scrub it or chase it. And then it has their email addresses as well. So it's kind of neat to have all that in one. Like sometimes people have multiple cells or home numbers, and so all this is on here, and it's kind of neat that you have that ability to just kind of grab it and work with it. So I just want to share that. I get excited. So all right, you're back, Heidi. Start rolling. I want to give you a breath.
Yeah, no kidding. Let me just look at my notes for a second. I really think we hit it all. There's just a couple things I wanted to show you back in the community. It seems like it's better if you share your screen, Joe. Do you want to try to do that? Let's go back into the community. Yeah, I want to show them the resources at the top where that, those. Okay. I created a couple pages, and I'm going to have a few more pages on there, but there's one page in particular that has resources. It's called resources, and it has a form for the agent directory. It also has this script that I shared, this script thingy that I shared with you. It's got
Let
something
me
else
get
in
in
there.
here.
But I'm going to be loading it up with stuff, and it'll all kind of be on that feed. And then there's another page called training that will have a link to all of our different things.
Okay, community. Hold on, bear with me. It looks like my internet's slow. Gosh, hold on. Did I lose you guys? Oh no, you were there. Okay, everybody's quiet. That's why I didn't. Trying to find my way through here. Oh, here it is. We just went through this too, which is so funny because Heidi's still retraining me on everything as well.
Get me to try it? I got it. I think I got it out.
Hold on, I got it here. Here it is. Is that it? Nope, that's the wrong screen. Hold on. Good thing I wasn't searching for something I shouldn't have been searching for. All right, hold on. Window.
Let's close out your OnlyFans, Joe.
I don't even know what an OnlyFan is. I'm not like you young kids. Is this it? Is this the one? Yep, this is the one, right? Yep, there we are. Okay. All right. All right, tell me what to do.
So just up at the top on resources, right next to meetups. Right. Yeah. Okay. So basically under there, those are links to pages. I do have a resources page. It has a couple things on it. I will be, and each time I load a resource, I'm going to put it in the feed kind of as an announcement. So you'll just be able to click on it. But if you just want to find one place to go to get kind of all the things, that's the idea. Do you want to click on that resources button? Yeah,
I certainly do. There we go.
Yeah. So, oh, I did a Notion crash course. I'm going to be doing all sorts of different trainings just because it's not just about short sales and REOs. Obviously, it's about running a business and marketing. And I've got a million cheat codes. One of them happens to be Notion. And it really is, you know, the first thing that I use to organize basically anything. And I have oodles and oodles of templates and checklists and all that kind of stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you guys that is all saved in Notion. So I thought I'd better I was training Joe on it. And so I thought, well, since I'm doing it, I may as well record it and do it once. So I shared that with you guys. So there will be other kind of random things. Now that scripts and marketing for listings, basically that's what I shared with you on this Notion page. That's what that is. You don't have to click on that. And then do you want to click on the oh yeah. So if you want to take that Notion, it's like 10 minutes. But basically what Notion is I mean, do you want to share a Notion page, Joe? Basically, it's a combination of Evernote, a Google Doc, web page. You can literally embed anything. Oh, I'm echoing again. Do anything with it. But anyway, it's a total cheat code on getting stuff done. And one of the it's part of my process for generating AI content. I'm going to be using it a lot. So I just, you know, it's not something that you have to use, but that's how the tools will be delivered to you. So it might be helpful.
It's a great place to put your marketing ideas. So there's an app on the phone also, and you can just go in and add things like, hey, you know, if you're driving and you know, something pops in your head. I come up with ideas all over the, you know, at the worst times. I could be driving and I come up with this idea, and then I could click and add it. And I think there's a little plus sign in the app. So when you add it from your phone, you click on the little plus sign, you can add it in. I'm lucky because after I add it in, Heidi goes in and fixes it and does it all. She like it, all of a sudden it's on steroids. But this is great to just go through and kind of get a feel. You know, it's something that I can't even begin to tell you the value, because you can do anything on there. You can make your website pages.
Yeah, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah,
so
sure. Go ahead.
That page that you're looking at is actually a Notion page that I published as a website, but it has a Loom video embedded, and it's literally it literally works with everything. So all I had to do was record my Loom and paste it. But you can see that I did bullets and numbering, kind of like you would on a Google Doc or whatever. And then those links right there are all bookmarks to the different things that I'm referring to in the video. So I just think it's it's the easiest tool as far as like building out your ops manuals, or just trying to quickly create like a quick web page or something that you want to share with somebody, or for like tutorials or whatever. Anyway, but things the point is, things like that will be in that resources.
Training manuals, right? So, I mean, if you want to put your stuff together that you're working on and adding, that's a great place for it.
Absolutely. And then click on that resources tab again. Underneath it is training. So that I'm going to build that out. But basically that's where all of our past recordings will be. So our past Zooms that we recorded, you can get access there. I will be generating another link for this one, and that's where you'll be able to access this recording, and then a link to all the tools that I'm talking about. And then I'm also going to connect an events page that will have like all our future events, so that you can sign up for additional, masterminds and whatever else we're doing. And it'll be right underneath. It'll be right underneath that resources.
The REO happy hour will be on there as well.
Yeah. Let's get happy. Anyway, I think if I talk too much more, I think I'll overwhelm everybody. So, but feel free to check out our website. It's live, and on our blog, I actually have some decent amount of content on there, and just kind of the basics about short sales and whatever. We're going to be building tons of that out. Part of it is kind of designed for SEO purposes. Please feel free to use it and use it in your content. You know what I mean? Because I've got descriptions of what short sales are or whatever. I mean, take it, plug it into AI and pop it in your newsletters. I don't care. I mean, we really want to give you every possibly need. So.
Now, the blog is great, actually. I've been adding a bunch of different things to it. And, I've been kind of spending a little more time kind of listening to what's going on out in the world. And then, instead of expecting everybody to have the time to do it, I've been kind of just breaking it down. So I've been kind of just breaking down whatever it is I've seen and then putting it into AI's own words and posting it up in there with the links back so that you guys can access it. So, and it's good to have a good knowledge of market information, even in other markets. So like in Mike's case, since he is in California, I mean, you can have people from all over the place reaching out to you. So I think every lead is a good lead. I don't think anything is a bad lead. And I don't think we should ever say we're not capable of doing something. So if somebody says to you, hey, my mother-in-law has a property she wants to sell in the Bay Area. I mean, even if it's something that you refer out, but, we all have networks of agents. And as this, one of the links in there was the agent referral database that we're going to be building out. And Martin missed it earlier, but he came in late. I don't know what he was at, a lunch party or something, an office meeting. But one of the things we're going to be able to do is set up client meetings through the same meetup. And if we have a client on for somebody comes up in Vegas and he's up in Martin's area, up in Summerlin, that might be something where I could text him the link and get him on immediately, and then we could do a soft introduction through video, and then it's a little easier. If they reach out to one of us, we could say, hey, you know what? Let me get Martin on here right now, and boom, I could send you a text message, drop everything, get on this. You could even do it from your phone, right? The meetups are available on the phone app also, so you could just get up, talk for a couple of quick minutes on the buyer side, the REO side, the short sale side, the client side, on all sides. This is a neat little feature we have within the community that you can just send the link out and jump in and start a meeting.
Kind of reminds me of speed dating for business.
Exactly.
Speed dating for business. Perfect. Yeah. And as we get these as Heidi and I are reaching out to these REO and these assisted short sale and assisted equity sale people, we're going to be doing them through the meets because flying all over the country doesn't work anymore, like I said, since COVID. So it'd be so neat to be able to pull you guys in, you know, as the area expert while we're in the middle of it and do it wouldn't even be a soft introduction anymore. It becomes a complete
Very warm.
introduction.
Very warm.
Joe, you had shared a link that you mentioned something about it shows that whether they're on a do not call list. What was the source of that information?
Well, Heidi puts that together, so she scrubs the default list and rolls in all their phone numbers and email addresses and everything. I mean, it's not something I do. I don't have the bandwidth for it.
We haven't talked about the VA program. Once we get some more back end support, obviously like the front end and just getting what we have in place is kind of the priority. But we are planning on launching either an app or a data program so you can get default leads and stuff. So let us know if you're interested in that. And maybe we can bump it up the priority list. But we do need to talk about the VA program. So basically we don't have all the details, but where we're starting with is going to be, and when I say VA, I'm talking about virtual assistants. What we're going to start off with is a marketing person, and we'll have a program where it'll be, and I'm not sure what the pricing will be yet. We're still kind of ironing out some kinks, but basically it'll be a flat monthly fee with unlimited marketing pieces. Now the catch is it's only like one at a time. But what we'll do is we'll have complete templates built out for you. There'll be an onboarding process where we'll get your logo, your branding colors, some templates for different flyers. If you're doing, depending on, if you're doing social media or direct mail or whatever, we'll be able to customize it towards you. But yeah, we want to be able to launch stuff that can help generate business now. So that's kind of why we're starting with the marketing piece of it. Then after that, we will tackle the listings and the transactions. So we'll have people for that as well. And of course, they'll have their own circle and their own meetups. The other thing too is if you end up needing your own virtual assistant, we can help you with that. We'll have kind of like an assessment that you can do on your own business and kind of figure out like where you need the help the most. Is it, organizing and cleaning up your database, or is it, whatever it is. But basically they'll be able to kind of help you prioritize whatever you need. And then once we are clear about what you need, we can go find that person and multiple options, and then you can interview them. But we want to get it so you've got maybe like 3 or 4 decent choices. And it'll probably take about 2 weeks to find the person once we've kind of ironed out what you're looking for specifically. But that's kind of the longer term plan.
And that's going to be good for like the REO tasks and stuff. As we fall into that, what happens is you go from not busy and you go from nothing to overwhelmed. And you can bring in a friend or one of your kids and try and teach them, but then you're spending that time teaching instead of doing. So one of the things that Heidi's also working on is kind of a keep track program or keep track calendar. And it's something that I've never really been able to hold myself accountable to is prospecting. So whether you're prospecting the notice of defaults 2-3 hours a day, if you're prospecting REO clients or you're prospecting for sale by owners, stick to that prospecting. What happens in real estate is we all get so excited about attending stuff that we get caught going to the board installation meeting or the office pumpkin party, and I hate to say I don't participate in that. I don't, because I think about like, oh my gosh, I'm having a great time. So anytime we have an office meeting, I spend all the time talking to Martin. So I could just talk to Martin on my own. I don't need to go to the office to do it. You know what I mean? So I spilled coffee all over both of us at the meeting on Thursday, just so you guys are all, I get edgy. I start babbling. I start knocking stuff over. But at the happy hour, it'll be wine. So wait for that one to happen. But again, if we keep ourselves accountable, and as a group, I think we'll all perform better. And again, there's going to be a lot of things. So as we get into that REO thing, we get into conferences and handling the conference the right way. I mean, there's so many different things that we're going to share that, it's hard to start because certain things will apply to different people. Like Martin and I talked about, like the buyer's side and a lot of the different things for the buyers and how we could help buyers and what's going to make us stand above some of the other buyers. I mean, buyer's agents rather. And it's going to be access to information. So now that the buyer's agents can be paying the commission, we can share things that we couldn't share in the past. So one of the things is like the online auctions. Heidi and I have been tinkering about putting a training together on that. So the online auctions, the trustee sales. So if you get an investor that comes into the game, what did we do in the past? We showed them MLS listings. We showed them our own listings. So like Mike and I have always had a big listing base. But sometimes that's not the best property. So opening the gateway up for different opportunities is going to show them that you're the more complete agent.
You know what, Joe,
And
that'd be a great, sorry to interrupt you. That'd be a great meetup to do is, you know, how the different auction sites work. And by the way, like the monthly we're going to do just the monthly free one, just once a month. And then all this additional training will actually just be all inside the community for our members. But that would be an awesome meetup doing, you know, figuring out, especially because the sites are different and being able to.
Yeah. And we've talked about all the insider stuff.
Exactly.
So, you know, the things. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. And again, it's not like I want to share it so that I have 400 competitors. You know, you share it with the inner group because, you know, you can't do it all or things get neglected. But, you know, I remember when I worked buyers, you know, one of the things, and I did a ton, buyers become sellers, they teach you, right? So never rule the buyers out. And I think while it's slow, we have to scratch at anything we can to keep business going. So on the buyer thing, you know, it's kind of silly now I think about it. I used to run, back then I would do listings on these different listing websites. So like at one time, homes.com, you would be able to go on there and put your listings up. And I used to put like a HUD listing up. And I put basic information, and I'd find like the biggest piece of garbage in the world, and I posted it on there. And so one of the things, so Mike and I were both HUD brokers. You could advertise HUD listings as long as it's in the state you're licensed in, and you don't need to get permission from the agent. So I used to market all the HUD listings for New York, Nevada, and California. Market the crap out of them. And
that was an entire hack. You should do a meetup on that too. How to get
this is a whole other meetup and a half. But yeah, I mean, you generate a buyer. And then the buyer becomes a seller. You lag, you know, I've knocked off investors that have bought 45 or 50 properties from me, but they were beginner investors. They weren't your guy that's scratching every nickel out, you know. So not only did I sell them the property, I listed the property when it was ready to list. So there's so many different ways that we can expand on the business. And again, each one becomes a separate session, or else we'd be on here for days just talking. So. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in. I go off on tangents, but anyway, go ahead, Heidi.
Well, I think that's it. I think we definitely covered.
You were the king of that HUD marketing, Joe. There's no doubt about it.
Right. And you know what happened, Mike, now is all the contract turned over to new AM management companies again, except for California. California is retained by 18. But nationally, they just gave out a whole load of contracts across the country. So, but again, the only big way is, and I'm going to say this all the time, is how I got noticed is that I sold all the properties. So if there were different clients, I went out and I sold those. I sold a bunch of Wells Fargo properties to make sure that I was on that other end of the deal, so that when it came time that I wanted to be the listing agent, I could say I sold a bunch of your properties, you know. And it doesn't necessarily work that one person handles all those properties, but it's nice to be able to throw stuff up in the air at them. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, does anybody have any questions?
Oh,
I'm good. Good job, you guys.
Thank you.
We try. Heidi's the young genius. That's what I call
her. What do you think are the most important topics to hit next time? Some of the things I was kind of thinking about was elaborating more on the marketing for next year. So we could do that. We could also talk more about VAs and what kind of tasks are good to delegate and what aren't. Mine too is really just, you know, business numbers for next year, you know, maybe some kind of, everybody's doing business plan costs. So I don't know. But or we could start tackling how to build the short sale packages and what the short sale consultation looks like, because I mean, ideally, hopefully some of these marketing strategies work and we get some conversations going.
I've got a pretty good tool that I wish I had time. I'd pull it up right now, but I'll tell you what it is, and you can decide where it might fit. 203Ks is a big deal in our business. And if you don't have the right lender to do 203Ks that knows his way around, you're destined to create a mess. And you're going to embarrass yourself in front of your client.
Yeah.
Skip Schenker is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the king of rehab loans, lenders.
Oh, for sure.
Skip Schenker. And
yeah, Skip's been around a hell of a long time.
And he's got a platform called Ready for Remodel that pulls. It'll take your current photo. In fact, you can actually dial in your address, type in your address. It'll find a photo, probably by Zillow or whatever, and it'll pull it up on his screen, and then it'll do a incredible rehab visual that you can see on screen and share with the client if they can't visualize what this place could look like afterwards. Okay.
I love it.
If you want to then detail the rehab costs, you're able to, his program pulls from Blue Hammer for ballpark estimates. So it's really pretty accurate in terms of, I just used it. The only property I've loaded in there is a property in Los Angeles that I'm working on right now. And I've got that saved so that I can market that property once the listing comes in. He's got a list of homes before listings, in other words, fixers, that he's published out there that investors are going to, looking for product that they can bid on. And then he flips those back to us as agents to work with those investors. So it's a really good tool to have in your quiver, you know?
I love it.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Do we think we could get him to come teach?
He would love to. We just need to get, some people, get some people in the room. And he brought on his assistant or his partner, Amy Porter. Amy's been around a long time. So the two of them will come on and do a demonstration for you.
That'd be awesome. Now, are they?
Well, it doesn't matter now where they're at. He moved to Bay Area from my area, and I worked with him. I gave him deals when he's in San Francisco Bay Area. He's now in Santa Cruz area, is where he's living. But you can do this business anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
I think he was originally one of the Wells guys when they started their rehab loan. If I'm not mistaken.
I used Skip, and I wanted to test how difficult it was to get these things done. So I pushed every step of the way, and with a rehab consultant, got the deal closed in 3 weeks.
Wow. 3 weeks. Well, that's amazing.
So
that's amazing. And the lender piece is critical. I mean, that's going to be something we're going to have to introduce a little more. And this is, Mike brought up a key point. I mean, any of these properties, people are going to have to go in, they're going to make changes, they're going to update them. So the financing piece is very important. I mean, unless you're buying a new home, which is, that's probably 400 different trainings there. If you're going to go to the new home is another, now they're buying rates down 2% and 3%. They're selling properties with their own lender. So, but, again, you're going to still do upgrades and throw stuff into there. But yeah, that's definitely we could put on the pot, when we get a bigger group together and have Skip come in and go through that. That'd be a great piece, Mike.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay, perfect. All right.
All righty. Well.
Always a pleasure. It's great to have you guys. It's great to see everybody on camera. One of these days we'll have to do a live in person. Yes. I think we will as things build out and we roll out through Keller Williams. We're going to probably hit some of the offices and market centers. And Mike has a big office that we could jump into. He volunteered a couple meetings ago, even though he forgot already.
Yeah.
We could jump down and do a bunch of things like that live as well. So.
Anytime. God
Cool.
bless you
All right,
guys.
guys.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Have a great weekend.
See you soon.
All right. Take care, everybody.